that they're going to learn at class.
Right.
It's still coming from
yeah,
you. But
that's good advice. Yeah.
That's what I felt, because I was like, I never really followed through with any of it. That's the chunky one. Yeah, that's the one that you have to have.
You saw how I looked at you? I was like, wait, this one or this one? I think it was the big one. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Am I close enough?
I think so.
Are you ready?
I think so.
Yeah. Welcome to Weddings Uncensored, where we drink and talk and drink. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Allie, and we are here to break down the good, the bad, and the downright crazy of this whole wedding industry. And today, if you are one of our lucky viewers, instead of just listening, cheers.
Cheers.
We are at the Ebell of Long Beach. We are recording in a new live space, which we've never done before, so it's very exciting. But we are talking about venues today, so we thought, what the hell better than to actually go to a venue and talk to an expert.
Great.
And here we are. Let's do it. So we have our fabulous guest, Katie of the Ebell of Long Beach.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hello, world.
Hello, world.
Some people are just listening. They're not all watching.
Oh, right.
You have
Okay.
You have to do both. You have to play to the camera, play to the mic. It's all...
Okay.
Cheers again.
Cheers.
Actually, let's take a big chug because it really helps.
Yeah.
Although I usually burp after I drink champagne too much, but that's okay.
All right.
So we're really excited today because we're talking about venues, which is this is our 21st episode, and I think we talk about venue hunting pretty much every single episode without actually having done an episode on venues.
Sure.
But as a wedding planner, I know how important the venue selection process is, how frustrating it can be, how overwhelming it can be early on, and then how it can later affect just your whole planning process if you end up have chosen the wrong one, or there's all kinds of surprises that you uncover along the way. So we're going to just kind of scratch the surface with it because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
And then for those listening and watching, we're also going to do kind of like a concurrent video where we'll actually walk through the space and kind of do like an example venue tour if you were to be a couple that is searching. And so we'll try to give you all the info in all the different angles.
Great. Yeah, I'll try to be as helpful as I can
You're
be.
so helpful already.
Hey,
and adorable, which
Yes.
is all that really matters.
As are you. Always a pleasure.
Oh my God, thanks. I know. Oh my God, I know. Okay, so we're gonna start from the very beginning. I am a couple. I am looking for a venue. I've just gotten engaged.
Yeah.
What would be like the first things that we're kind of looking for if I'm making a priority list of the items that I should be looking for when I'm venue searching?
Sure. I think the first things you want to chat with your partner about is what are your priorities. Like some people really prioritize food. Yep. Some prioritize their cocktails. Some prioritize an outdoor space, an indoor space. So I would really work that out with your partner before all else.
Yeah.
Obviously talk about budget.
Yes.
That's a big one. So a lot of people don't really know their budget, and then they start touring venues and kind of waste their time because it's not within their budget.
Yep.
And then they get really frustrated. So
all the time. That literally happens all the time.
Yes. Yeah. I can't tell you how many tours that I've done that's the couple it's not even within their budget, and then they really love the space, and then they get a proposal done, and it just doesn't work out. So.
Oh my God, I actually did a tour here with a friend of a friend who was looking for venue hunting. It was definitely not within her budget. She cried when she saw the bridal suite because it was her dream. She could envision herself here, and those tears could have been spared. Had she actually looked at something first.
Yeah.
So talking about budget early and often is something that we talk about this podcast a lot, but certainly before you even start reaching out to venues.
Yeah.
But how transparent is that? Pricing's not probably on the website. What's a good way to attack that as a couple?
Of course. So we don't advertise that on our website just because it really depends on your selections. So definitely email the venue. And I know at our venue here, we send a rough estimate based off your guest count. So as much information as you can give the venue, like your guest count, your budget, and a date. Start with that. See what their availability is, and then they'll usually give you a rough estimate depending on your guest count. But if you have specific things that you're really looking for, I would ask for a proposal from the venue. Usually our sales director and myself try to get a proposal done for any client that wants to tour the venue first, so they can really understand all the pricing, what goes into that, what the labor costs look like, what the catering, the bar services look like. There's just so many different layers to
Yeah.
a wedding, and not all venues include all of those services, so you definitely want to ask that as well.
Yeah.
If catering and bar is included, you might have to find different vendors for that, which can be stressful and a hassle to find different venues or
Totally.
vendors for different purposes that a lot of venues already include.
Yeah.
So asking those questions from the jump.
Before your tour. I
Right.
think that's like such a good tip.
Exactly.
And yeah, when you're comparing different proposals, I mean, for a lot of different vendors, but certainly when you're venue hunting, like make sure you're comparing apples to apples, right? Like
Yeah.
this one might like look a lot more expensive, but
Sure.
it includes so much. And how much our rental is going to cost?
Right.
Chairs like these, you know, all of the photo ops. Like there's nothing really that's exactly comparable. So you have to
Exactly.
think about, like you said, the priorities.
Right. And every venue is different. Like, I think what's special about our venue is that we do include all of the furniture, all the glassware, all the flatware, all the china.
Yep.
A lot of venues don't include those things. So that is a lot of extra fees that you're not really being mindful of. So ask those
much.
questions again in the beginning.
Literally, each of these chairs to rent is going to be like $10 or $11 per chair,
Yeah.
right? So just think about just that.
I know.
Just think about
I
a
know.
stupid fucking chair and like how much that will affect your budget
It's
later
so
on.
true. It's
Yeah.
so true. People are always so surprised by those aspects of wedding planning.
Yes.
Which is totally understandable.
Yeah,
If
it's
didn't
all
work
a
in-
big sticker shock, all of it.
If I did not work in this industry, I always tell brides that, like, it's your questions.
Yeah.
You feel like you're dumb asking them, but you're not. Like,
No.
you should ask these questions.
Absolutely. And you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
So, and that's
Exactly.
okay. You've never done this. We have done this.
Right.
So let us help you and
Right.
guide you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you found an initial proposal and you're like, this is cool. This works within our budget. You know, it hits maybe our priorities. So we schedule a tour.
Right.
After that tour, which we'll kind of get into the tour thing a little bit more, like say you decide that you love it.
Yeah.
What's kind of the next like step and how does the communication kind of go from
Right.
there?
I think, yeah, that's a good question. A lot of clients start to get a little lost.
Yeah.
Once they book, they're like, oh gosh, what's expected of me now? My advice is just to ask the venue, like ask the team working there, what do I need? What do you need from me? What do I need to do? Usually you just have to sit tight for a while.
Yeah.
Your wedding isn't for usually like a year,
Yeah.
give or take. So we don't need any information from you
Yeah.
until a lot closer to your wedding date. So
Right.
people will always email me and their wedding will be in 8 months and they'll be like, I need to design my floor plan and do this and that. And it's like, no. I can't even think about you right now. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
I have so many clients' weddings before you
Yeah.
that I'm going to prioritize. So yeah, just kind of maybe ask anyone at the venue, like, what is a general timeline of things, like when are payments
Yeah.
expected from me and when are like design meetings,
the communication gonna look
tastings.
like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When should those be scheduled? And we'll outline it all for you.
Yeah.
And don't feel like you need to take that on yourself and kind of put together a timeline between now and your wedding date. The professionals
Yeah.
will do it for you.
Yeah,
So
I like that.
Yeah.
Trust them to do that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And we'll reach out to you. You never have to go out of your way to.
Well, but that's not the case for every venue.
That's true.
And I mean,
That's
I
true.
have gotten hired as a coordinator purely to be like the middleman between
Sure.
like a couple and the venue manager because there's
Right.
so many issues, or really like kind of feeling ghosted, like there's a lack of communication in general. Like you guys do a really incredible job of that here, and that
Thank
is
you.
something to look for.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to feel like a salesperson just like made you give over
Sure.
your arm and leg and firstborn child and then
Yeah.
is like, bye, see you in a year. Like that's not a good feeling
Yeah.
either. So,
No, absolutely not.
But I agree. I think asking those questions of just like, what should I expect?
Yeah.
Because again, you don't know. This is
Yeah.
the first time you've done this.
No.
Maybe the second.
Yeah. Depending on the person.
Whatever.
Yeah. No judgment.
Katie, quick question. What are like the top 5 questions that couples will say, I know this is a dumb question, but
Yeah.
like maybe 5, 3, whatever you think of. But like, what are some questions that like, yeah, that
That's a great question. I would say a big one is, what if I change my mind? What if I don't want to do a plated dinner service anymore and I want to do a buffet? Like, am I stuck? Am I like locked into my initial proposal? And the answer is no. Again, like things are going to fluctuate. Your guest count is going to fluctuate. You're going to change your mind a million different times about like your aesthetic preferences and your menu selections. So just it's going to ebb and flow, and just kind of lean into that. us personally, we don't require all your final information, your final documents until 2 weeks prior to your actual event date.
Yeah.
So you can change your mind a million times up until then, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
I would say another big question that a lot of our clients ask is timeline stuff. Timeline gets really complicated for people. And again, there's a lot of professionals on your side that are helping you with that, like your lovely planner or your
Photo, video.
Exactly, yeah. So they will all have their own specific needs, and they're gonna communicate that to you.
Yeah.
So definitely trust the professionals.
Yep.
Don't try to make up your own timeline based off of what you think will work, because usually it will.
Yeah.
Usually
You actually don't know what you're doing.
right,
so.
exactly, yeah. So yeah, those are probably the two biggest
Yeah,
questions.
absolutely. I mean, I think that's such like good advice. I tell people all the time, like hire good people and then just let them do their jobs.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
really, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, but I understand why people get hung up on things.
Yeah.
So something that comes up a lot, like we've talked about in past episodes, and it's not necessarily as applicable here because you guys do catering and stuff all in once, but you know, there's a lot of hidden fees and like kind of surprises that can
Sure.
pop up with venues.
Yeah.
For example, there's a group of venues in LA that like they don't really advertise to you that you have to use this valet parking service and that it's like going to be an extra $3,000, which is
Sure.
a huge, you know,
Yeah.
number, a line item in your budget that you like didn't really know about.
Of course.
Security, required babysitters, like there's all these little
Yeah.
things, you know, cleaning fees, deposits, like are there things like that, red flags maybe, or maybe not that they're not bad things, but like the venue isn't being super explicit that people can look out for?
Yeah. Again, like you mentioned, every venue is kind of different. With us doing catering and bar services in-house, I think people get their initial proposal and they kind of view that as law.
Yeah.
But in reality, if you change your mind and you want to do a filet mignon, there's going to be an upgrade fee for things like that, which the sales manager should communicate to you. As well as labor charges. Those can really fluctuate. That really depends on your guest count. So if your guest count goes up, we're going to have to hire more servers, more bartenders, etc. So just being mindful of that, and that your proposal should be constantly updated with your new guest count.
As things are fluctuating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would say those are the biggest ones. I think for us here at Ebell, people are usually surprised by the babysitter requirement.
Yeah.
It's a historical building. It's fragile. There's a lot of antiques
But
here.
there's a lot of venues that require that too.
Yes.
So what's your rule here?
So if
Wait,
you have
what's a babysitter?
A babysitter?
Yeah. For
quite-
a venue?
For
quite-
children.
right.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Oh
about.
my
like,
God. I thought he was joking.
No, I literally thought there was like, I don't know, someone to like watch the historic and make sure no one's touching stuff. That's what I thought.
Like a
No.
no,
A
that's my
baby
job.
babysitter.
That's my job as a coordinator. Is I'm an adult babysitter where I just have to
yeah.
wrangle drunk
No, I just
groomsmen and
wanna-
keep them away from the historic fucking fountain. Yeah, that's me.
Dumb question.
That
I
is
know what a
real.
babysitter is.
No.
I just didn't know.
I was
if
like, you're
it
the
was
only one that has
specific.
kids here. I don't understand.
There are no dumb questions. It's quite literally a babysitter. Someone who babysits children. Yeah, we do require that. We've just been burned by it too many times in the past. You know, we've had events where there would be like 14 young children running around, and I've caught kids nearly falling out of windows, throwing things at our beautiful chandeliers out here. Just, you know, people get drunk. It's an open bar. They're enjoying themselves as they should.
Yep.
And they don't want to watch their kids anymore.
I-
And they're like, we're in an all indoor space. Where are they going to go? Nothing bad's going to happen.
No.
Bad things can still happen. And I don't want to be personally liable for that.
Responsible.
Or
No.
witness something, you know, bad happen to your kids. So
Absolutely.
if you have a lot of kids running around, we do require a babysitter. And I think a lot of venues do that. So maybe if you want to avoid that hassle, you just tell your guests no kids. No.
That would be it. But I do think those are the types of details to consider early in planning, right? Like, do we want to have kids at our wedding? Will there be a lot of kids?
Yeah.
If that's the case, is this a very kid-friendly venue? Is there a place for them to go? Like, these
Yeah.
are all kinds of things that you do want to think about early
Right.
because, again, you know, 6 months in, your contract's signed and everything's locked in, and
Yeah.
now you've decided you want to have this whole, you know, fucking kids camp
Yeah.
in some
Yeah.
room. Like,
It's- yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just not going to work very well.
Yeah.
So
And there are services that you can hire for that.
Yeah.
Black Tie Kids is the one that we mostly use here
Yeah.
at this venue. It's literally a service that you can hire for someone to watch your kids at an event.
that's what a babysitter is.
yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
That is the definition of a babysitter.
For those new here, yes, there are incredible vendors for that. Okay, so speaking of vendors, that is another thing that I think is like a hot ticket item when you're venue searching is like
Yeah.
how important is it to you to have that flexibility to bring in your own vendors?
Right.
Do you have your heart set on having this special style of food
Yeah.
or this certain kind of band or
Yeah.
whatever? If so, great, but discuss that early on.
Right. Ask the venue about that for sure. A lot of venues do require you to use their vendors.
Yep.
Every venue is going to have a preferred vendor list. It's people that they've worked with, that they trust, that they know does a good job,
Yep.
and that knows the venue, knows the rules, knows the staff. It just makes the process so much more seamless for everyone. I mean, the venue, the vendors, and you, the client, and all your friends and family attending the wedding. So I couldn't stress that enough. Honestly, use the venue's preferred vendor list.
Well, it goes back to what we just said, right?
yeah.
Hire professionals, let
Yeah.
them do their job,
Right.
and they know how to make it
Right.
work, and it's going to be great.
It saves me on a personal level so much time and hassle. Are you okay? Are you okay?
You good, girl?
For those
A little tipsy.
just listening, I just tried to take a sip of champagne and smacked my head.
It happens.
Thanks, guys.
It
I'm
happens.
so
to the best of
enthralled
us.
by Katie's vendor talk.
That's what you get for clarifying what a fucking babysitter is to me.
That was my instant karma. But I think like knowing that, picking people off of the list.
Yes.
But if it's something that is a recommended vendor and a required vendor, those are
Right.
two different things
Yeah.
as well.
We only have a recommended list,
Yeah.
but when I meet clients, when I tour clients, I'm really stressing that point. Please, please pick someone from this list.
Yeah.
Just because when it comes down to submitting all the documents, people that work here, like yourself, a million times prior,
Yeah.
they know what I expect of a timeline. They know how much the kitchen needs to flip from running apps during cocktail hour to running salads during dinner service. So I don't have to remind them over and over again and send them feedback on their timeline. And, and then the client starts to get frustrated because they're like, why does my planner not know
Yeah.
these simple things that the venue requires?
Yep.
So everyone starts to get frustrated. The whole process becomes stressful.
Yeah.
And
Streamline where you can.
exactly. We're
Yeah.
trying to avoid that, all of us. So, use preferred vendors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period.
End of the conversation.
Conversation. Yeah, and there's a lot of vendors. I will say, like one of my like hot takes is just like bands. Bands are always a fucking pain in the ass.
They are. They do. They suck.
I
They
love a
always
band.
suck.
Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
they suck. Like
Yeah.
from a planner venue perspective, it's never an easy thing.
No, never. The setup is insane, and they require so much.
Yeah.
Like they're
They
divas.
demand a lot.
They're divas.
They do demand a lot.
Yeah. They
demand a lot.
They're
Even I
always
know
like,
that. I
"Where's
don't
the
even
green
plan
room?"
weddings,
And I'm
and I
like,
know that.
"There's not a fucking green
Yeah.
room. You're not
I
like
know.
at a concert venue.
Right.
What is
Exactly.
your deal?"
Yes. I get that question more than anything from bands. Where is like our green
Yeah.
room? We don't have a space for them.
Exactly.
Honestly, they usually just hang out in one of the suites upstairs. But yeah, setup is insane.
Checking audio, we're good.
But
Okay.
those logistics are, again, just really important to think about
Yeah.
before. So speaking of room and suites, like having a place to get ready is not something that every venue has. And I
Right.
don't think people think that. Like they
Yeah.
just assume there's going to be a getting ready area
Yes.
or that time-wise they'll be able to like do hair and makeup on site or things like that. So what do you guys offer here and like what are common pain points or questions that you hear regarding that?
Yes. Every tour I do, the bride asks about getting ready on site.
Yep.
And I always recommend getting ready off site.
Yeah.
As a bride, particularly. Groomsmen and grooms don't necessarily have that
As much
hurdle
going on.
right? I mean, as you can imagine. So I always tell the bride, do hair and makeup offsite. Rent like a really cute Airbnb or something nearby, something comfortable, or like a huge suite in a hotel where there's a bunch of outlets and vanities, things of the
Yeah.
sort. Because when you get to the venue, you're about 3 hours out till invite time. That is not enough for you and all your girls and your mom and your sisters to all get their hair and makeup done. You're gonna just get dressed usually there on site. So, I mean, again, that's particular to our venue. I don't know if a lot of venues have that time allocated to the brides. But do hair and makeup off site, come ready, and then you want to get a lot of photos done before the ceremony starts as well. You want to use that time in the venue where your guests are not here to take photos. So you can actually enjoy the party, that you can actually be a part of it and not be pulled every which way all night to take photos, because you got those done. You can enjoy the actual events. And
we love a first look where you do all that stuff.
Love
Team first look, let's go.
Team first look for sure.
And huge team first look.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Every photographer and planner and venue person probably will try to talk you into it. But it depends. Certainly every venue is a little bit different, but I do think that's another like important question to ask. And like when you're envisioning your day, and again, line iteming budgets, okay, we have to get a separate Airbnb.
Right.
What is that going to be like? Transportation? Are you going to be far? Logistics are like, those are the types of things though that will save you grief later down the road if you can think about all that stuff early, like when you're venue shopping.
I make a point to say that to the brides too, because I know as a woman myself how important that is to allocate time to that. So definitely ask about that.
So when a client is like has a vision, maybe you've seen on Instagram something that exists at a different venue or at this venue, when it comes to like decor and those types of details, like are there issues that come up? I know specifically an issue that I've had here is there was at some point a wedding where we had confetti.
Yes, I hate confetti.
I know. Every venue hates confetti. I don't know exactly where the miscommunication had. Some wedding was allowed to have confetti. That picture made it up on Instagram. And it probably has caused you guys issues for the years since then. Is we want to have this big like confetti moment.
I specifically remember asking marketing to remove that, just because we got so many DMs.
That was a pop the champagne wedding.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
I think that might be more particular to indoor venues.
Nobody likes confetti. Or glitter. It's a real problem.
You can't get rid of it, and you have to be mindful. You're not the only person getting married at that venue. The venue has to think about all 100 plus clients that they have that year and what they want their venue to look like. They didn't sign up for the confetti that you signed up for. So
the herpes of the decor world,
the herpes,
as we call it.
I love that. I'm going to start using that.
It never goes away. Glitter's worse, but confetti too is pretty bad.
We're very strict about that here. Our site manager would have a heart attack if someone had confetti at their wedding. So,
but I do think that that's a thing that I've seen is like, okay, I'm getting married here. I've seen on Instagram this hanging installation of florals, or maybe you've seen something at a different venue, but you like that look and want to put it in there. Like, again, things to look for and ask early. Is this allowed? Like, what, would this cost? Like, that might be a very expensive floral installation that you haven't even considered. And like, that's what you want to make this look, what's included and what's not. And again, this venue in particular, a lot of the rentals are included, but some venues, you see pictures on Instagram and you're like, that's not what that venue even looks like.
No, that's so true. That's so true. I would advise people to always look at people's Instagrams, see what other people have done in the past. I tell that to every potential new client. Look at our Instagram. And that's also a helpful note when you're looking for vendors to hire, because and I'm sure a lot of venues do this, tag all of our vendors in our posts. Like, hey, you like this floral design? Here's who did it. And then you can just get lost in a rabbit hole of everything on people's Instagram accounts. But that is something I would ask the venue maybe for their rules and regulations right off the back.
Before booking.
Yeah, exactly. Look that over, because like you said, if you have something that's really important to you.
There's so many rules, candles, and what you can bring in, and timing restrictions, and all of that stuff. Yeah. It's just better to know it all up front than to have a surprise 6 weeks before and then be disappointed. Like, save yourself that kind of hassle later on.
Absolutely. And I hate having to say no to people. Like, it's your wedding. I don't want to be the bad guy. Don't make me the bad guy.
You love it. I've seen you like say no and then laugh. No, I'm just kidding. Katie's like the nicest person ever. Okay, so then we've made it through planning. We found our dream venue. Here we are.
Hooray.
Everything's fabulous.
Yeah.
Let's talk just a little bit about the day of. I mean, obviously, I'm always advocating towards hiring a day of coordinator because that's what we do.
Right.
But can you just give like a very brief description of like what does your venue coordinator do versus what does like a wedding coordinator or planner do?
Right.
And why you need both?
You need both. A lot of people are very confused by that, so I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not going to plan your wedding for you.
I told you she was mean.
I will.
No.
Absolutely
Don't
not.
care what you want.
Immediately, no. No, it's just that again. I have 2 to 3 weddings a week.
Yeah.
I can't be everyone's coordinator, so that is why we require a third party to come in.
Right.
And I also can't work. I just don't want to work that many hours. That's like a 10+ hour day. I have a full-time job.
You have a different job. Well,
Yeah,
that's not your
exactly.
job. Your job is not to be
Right.
on site running the show
No.
from a specific wedding perspective.
So
Yeah.
I will answer any vendor questions along the way, if it's regarding their insurance or whatever, something venue related. But I'm not working out the timeline with your photographer. That's what your planner is doing. I'm not there telling mom and dad where to be at certain times. I'm just floating around the venue, making sure no one is breaking shit or
The kids aren't jumping out windows.
Kids
and
are just,
Where's the babysitter?
Yeah.
Where's that goddamn babysitter?
Hunting down babysitters. No, that is the planner. And if I see something that I have an issue with as the venue rep, I will go to the planner and say, hey, you need to grab that kid that's falling out of the window right now. I'm not doing it.
This is on you.
And your planner, you're going to work with more intimately. You're going to, design your table settings with them. Like, I'm just going to help you with the general venue-related design. So you're going to come in. I'm going to help you with your floor plan. I'm going to tell you what logistically makes sense, what doesn't, what tables we have to offer you. Your planner is going to submit your timeline, and then I'm going to give them feedback like, hey, that works, great, approved. Or I'm going to say, hey, you're not being mindful of our kitchen's needs here. We're going to have to extend this out, or here are some options, and I'll give you feedback. But ultimately, your planner is doing the majority of the work.
Yep.
And they're going to be your advocate. They're basically your liaison between the venue and yourself. So the planner is very, very crucial. A lot of people ask if they can plan their own wedding.
Yeah.
No. Just no. Immediately
No.
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 Yeah, you don't want to plan your own wedding. The heck,
Yeah.
you want to enjoy your party.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be present. You want to. It's the most magical day of your life. Like, let it be. Don't turn it into something
Work.
worse. Yeah, exactly.
Don't turn it into work for yourself. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's really important. And I think sometimes people are confused or surprised when like the person that sold them this space is maybe not even there on their wedding day or, not present for later on down the road. So again, just things to look for. And just to be clear, there's no right or wrong. Like, it's normal for there to be a salesperson and then like a separate venue, management or whatever on that day.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Right.
But if you're not expecting that and you're like, oh my God, I've been talking to Katie for a year and she's not here, like that might be disappointing or surprising.
100%. And that's funny you bring that up, because I always feel bad about that. Like, I don't work Sundays, but I am a person with a social life.
I am a person.
With a life.
Our sales manager and I always joke about this, that like people don't expect us to have lives.
Preaching to the choir on that one.
They will literally ask us to come in Jen had someone ask to come in for a tour recently at 10 p.m. on a Friday. Like, what? No.
She didn't respond at 10 p.m., right? I hope not.
Right? I know all the time. Texting has gotten really bad too. Like, especially with as a planner, like people really feel like, you're at their beck and call, and like the texting has gotten out of control.
I don't give people my cell.
No,
I don't.
Yeah,
I learned that.
Yeah, I've had to make it a rule. Like,
Yeah.
you can text me, but I'm not texting you back. So
Yeah.
Boundaries
Boundaries are important. So. Yeah, just be reasonable, I guess, with your requests. Like, they are people with lives outside of, managing a venue. So,
And hire a good coordinator or planner so that the day of is as stress-free as possible.
Exactly.
And hiring someone who is, not that it has to be someone who's worked at your venue before, but obviously the more familiar they are and just the more in control they are, like the smoother your day is going to be. I always tell people it's not just about you. Like, yes, this is a huge day for you as a couple, of course.
Yeah.
But like, it's a really big day for your parents and for your friends, and
Yeah.
like your whole guest experience is always like our number one priority.
100%.
And I think that's something really good that you guys do here is like the guest experience is always like paramount. Like the service is great, the food is great. Like every server has a smile on their face. Like the wow factor of the venue itself. Like that's why you're fucking paying $1 zillion to have a party. Like if you really just wanted to go get married, you could go do that.
Right,
but
just
like
go elope in the woods somewhere.
You're creating an experience for 150 people, and so that's what a good venue is going to be able to do for you is create that guest experience.
That was really well said.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was the glass of champagne and the knock of my fucking forehead. Jesus Christ. Oh, I love it. Well, I think that was really good. Is there anything else that you want to add? Well, where can they find you here at the Ebell, like online and?
Yeah, if you just go to our website. So our company is actually called Trail A. So that is our broader umbrella company. It's a catering service that we do offsite events, but we manage and operate venues here in Long Beach, one in downtown LA, and one in Dallas, Texas as well. But yeah, if you go to Trail A, www.
I don't think you have to say the www part anymore.
That's probably a given. Traila.com. If you type that in, it always takes me to like Tesla's website. So just be mindful of how you're typing that.
Oh my God.
Because I know.
Yes, Trey. I know.
It's very French.
It is French. It is TRESLA.
Not Tesla.
Yeah, not Tesla. That is a very different company.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah,
This was
thanks
super
for
helpful.
having me.
I appreciate it. Cheers again.
Always a pleasure, Allie.
And stay tuned for more good, juicy venue content.
Hell yeah. Love it.
Wait, we'll see you.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
I won't see you
That's
next
how we-
Tuesday, but